Ninja.
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 It's been a long time, everybody, and welcome back. Last time we took a look at Naruto Ultimate Ninja for the PlayStation 2, a game that, despite being just a flat 6 out of 10 bare bones fighting game, set a great foundation for what was to come with the sequel. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Naruto Ultimate Ninja 2. Now, when I say this game takes it to the next level, I am not kidding you. More characters, improved enemy AI, a brand new open world story mode, more side missions, minigames. There is so much to this game that it puts the first one to shame in ways that I can't even fully describe. It's like comparing a Cadillac to a burnt out Pinto. There is so much more to this game that it is in serious competition as my favorite of the trilogy, and in all honesty, this is what the first one should have tried harder to be. But that is neither here nor there. We already looked at the first one, so let's dive headfirst into the main story, Ultimate Road. The game's main story takes place during the Chunin exams at the third phase where they are having their one-on-one tournament. As is typical with most shonen series, there has to be a tournament somewhere. It's basically in the contract of every single one of these damn shows. It follows the main story all the way to the Tsunade arc, and it even adds an original story arc with an additional 2 hours of content. The original story revolves around a new taboo jutsu that sort of exists in later Naruto, but right now it was just a big piece of fan service. And trust me for when I say that the plot takes a turn into what can only be described as fan fiction territory on the level of something like Dragon Ball FighterZ. If you played that game's story mode, then you'll know what I mean. They obviously wanted to wait till the third game to get to the Sasuke retrieval arc, which I do not blame them for. It's a big arc, and it's, at least for my money, the most memorable one in the original run of Naruto. For me personally, I think a lot of people, I really stopped watching Naruto after the famous Sasuke-Naruto conflict was done with. But anyway, all of this fluff brings the campaign mode to a whopping 6+ hours depending on if you want to do everything. This is a major improvement on the first game. Instead of just picking a character to the fight in scenarios, Ultimate Ninja 2 puts you in a narrative with actual cutscenes. Plus, on a technical note, the audio sounds much more clear when everybody is talking. Every section is stuck with a fixed camera angle, which can make it a bit of a pain in the ass when the game wants you looking for something, but the map system honestly could have been a lot better. It's just a still image of the area. And maybe I'm just used to GTA or Jak and Daxter where the mini-map is the bottom left corner, but it did seem like a small issue. Not one that ruined the experience, mind you, but it is worth bringing up, at least to me. And I gotta say, I do feel more immersed in this game, exploring the Leaf Village, talking to people, hearing the score of the show during the cutscenes. It really pulls me in, and at times makes me actually care about the characters and what is going on. The only true complaint I have is that the game doesn't cover the first few arcs, and since the first game didn't have a legitimate story mode, I would have assumed they would have given the players a nice retelling from the very beginning, especially since we have all the maps that are needed. But that's not too big of an issue because it just picks up at a really fun point in the story anyway, and it does end on a high note. We also get a good variety of mini-games, which we will get to in a minute.
But that's not the only thing this sequel gets right. There is so many other things that it adds.
One great example of how this game is a step above its predecessor would be the roster of fighters we have at our disposal. Now, the previous game features a paltry sum of 12 characters to mess around with, and 2 of them were just powered versions of Naruto and Sasuke that you had to work your ass off to even get, and like I said in my first video, they were not worth getting in the end. There was so much potential with all Naruto's characters they had on hand, but they didn't even use half of the main cast. Well, thankfully Ultimate Ninja 2 fixes this problem by giving you a whopping 32 characters to play with. 32! Now, it's true that 3 of them are variations on other fighters, but even taking them out of it, we are still left with 29 unique ninjas, all with a fantastic selection of ultimate attacks that are always the highlight of these games. And finally, we get to play as the sleeping genius Shikamaru, the burning flame of youth Guy, Metallica, Bug's Life, and the only good Hokage, the third Hokage. That is right, I said it. Come get me, fanbase. I should honestly stop there because I could do an entire poke rap of all the characters at this point, but I won't. Bottom line is you get way more to play around with, making the game a step above the first. So that is 2 things this game has above Ninja 1, so let's go for a third. For the most part, the gameplay is the exact same as Ultimate Ninja 1, so if you want to know how that works, go ahead and go check my first review out. To sum it up though as fast as possible, it kind of plays like Smash Bros. If Smash Bros. Had cinematic, quick-time event-filled ultimate moves. Here I'll be going over all the additions and improvements to the game though. Every battle now starts off with a really neat clash that has the 2 characters flying into each other and backing off before the fight begins. They added combo finishers to your basic punch and kick combos. They added the ability to do aerial throws, which is a big addition to the series. They added small RPG elements to the characters, giving them stats and everything that can be upgraded as you play the game. The structure of this game is just so much grander with the Ultimate Road story mode added. Being able to move around a mini version of the Leaf Village is awesome. Talking to characters from the show to set up missions and do minigames is a hell of a lot better than just going to the menu like in Ninja 1. Sure, it's not a one-to-one recreation, we wouldn't really get that until Rise of a Ninja, but with this, I believe for fans of the show, this was a real treat. I know it was for me at the time. But having open area in the game is one thing, what you do in it is what really matters, and for the most part, this game hits it right on Naruto's stupid, hypocritical head. Outside of the main fights that will take up most of your time in the game, there is a decent variety of minigames sprinkled throughout. They vary wildly from little games of Simon Says to handstand races to push-up contests and tree climbing. These minigames are a decent distraction from the main game, and each one is very short, simple, and fun. My favorite game being the Simon Says pose-off with Guy Sensei. There is also a mission mode, which is just a series of random battles tied to a scenario separate from the main story. Most of the time, these are harmless and lighthearted, like one of the fights involves Choji getting into an argument over who's in line first to get a snack. The cool thing about these fights, however, is you can pick any fighter that you've unlocked. If you want to pit Choji against Choji, you can do that. If you want to pit Lee against Choji, you can do that. You don't have to be Naruto in the story mode for these missions. And one thing I really love is that there's even characters tied to some of these long-term missions. Like the one where Naruto starts training under Guy Sensei. If you complete those series of missions, you will unlock a taijutsu version of Naruto, complete with a full-on Rock Lee outfit. It is so cool, and it is one of my favorite additions they put in the game. And I gotta say, I do just love taijutsu Naruto. Character models in the game are still nice with retaining that manga aesthetic, putting the lines of a character's face when in the shadows, and the comic text appearing with every single punch, kick, and special move. It is all so awesome. And the same thing goes for the stages. Here we got 16 stages to fight in with a good variety to be sure. We got dual plane stages, one plane stages, an arena with an underground section to go in and get wrecked because it's so fucking cramped in the areas you can't jump, so you either have to use your ultimate or substitution to get by. Love it so much. All this and so much more. Models still do come off a bit blocky, but comparing it to today's games, that is to be expected. But even for its release in the late 2000s, it looked pretty bad. At least here in the US when it came out. Overall, the game still retains the style that it needed to catch people's eyes. Their shinobi eyes. The music is once again great, with remixes and regular renditions of the tracks from the series. It even gets to shine more here since they use it for the cutscenes to add that extra bit of emotion. The music also accompanies the new mini-games. However, sometimes during the fights, I wish it would kick off a bit more. I like it for sure, but it can feel underwhelming at times during ultimate moves, and just in the regular fights in general. I also gotta say that I really like the open world music. It's incredibly relaxing, and I think I could pop it in the background while I do some writing or just chilling in my room. Most of the time, I think the music kills it 110%. No doubt in my mind about that, and partially that's due to some of it being reused from the last game. But honestly, hey, if it isn't broke, do not fix it. And also for the first time, this game features voice acting for every single character, and the audio and the acting here is great and on par with the show, so that is a big thumbs up for me. Depending on who you ask, of course, that could be just a bunch of ear torture. So hey, chalk up another point for the sequel. I mean, what could go wrong at this point? Well, I think now would be a good time to move on to the cons, because believe it or not, I do have a few problems with this game. One of the smaller problems are actually the minigames. Yes, they are fun. They are a fun little distraction from the main game, and I'm not saying that any of them are bad. It's just that some of them are the exact same minigame, but with different names. Shikamaru and Guy's minigames are the same Simon Says event, just with different poses, and I honestly do not know why. Guy already has an original minigame, so why give him another one that's just like Shikamaru's? It's a little repetitive. I could also be petty and say that the gameplay really hasn't evolved at all, and we're basically playing a 1.5 sequel, or how again the map completely sucks. Or even some of the moves being a complete rehash from the first game. But I will not, because honestly, I've got some real issues with this one. First off, the campaign. As much as I love how much effort they put in compared to the first one, the difficulty starts to become a problem because believe you me, if you've heard about this game, then you know this game has some difficulty spikes. Now, I want to clarify that I have no problem with hard games. As long as the game was fairly designed, I have no problem with them at all. I have played games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, and I have had no problems with them, and I've enjoyed them. Give me all the challenge you want, just don't be unfair, and that is where Ultimate Ninja 2 drops the ball. Some of the clear conditions with these fights is downright ridiculous. I mean, they start off fine, like beat the level with 50% health, win with the opponent having a health or strength boost, or even both, and that is totally fine, that's doable. There was one fight, man, where I had to keep on attacking non-stop. That was the requirement, and I had to reset this fight over and over and over again because I would get knocked in the air, or I would get knocked on the floor and get up, and this would take too long, so I would automatically lose the fight. You just gotta be incredibly aggressive and then get your level 3 ultimate off ASAP, which at times can be like slamming your head against a brick wall since the AI knows when you hit the buttons. I swear to God they do. I swear this AI knows exactly when you're about to hit the buttons. And it will automatically block or dodge perfectly out of the way when you need to hit it, and it will instantly reset you. So you either need to just know what the AI is going to do or get good and try again without getting hit a single time. And that's really hard. That's not a bad challenge. It's doable. But when the game wants me to beat the AI with 75% of my health and win with my ultimate attack, and they are stronger than me, faster than me, they're regenerating health, I think anyone can agree that is ludicrous. It can feel really crazy. It can be beyond crazy at times, having to deal with stacks of bullshit spikes and difficulty just because it's nearing the end of an arc. To make matters worse, even if the clear conditions aren't hard, the AI can be super aggressive and cheap out of nowhere. So yeah, it's typical fighting game balance issues. I can't stress enough how much trouble the last 2 hours of this story mode are, and that is the original stuff they added to the game. And despite this balance problem, the game is still a lot of fun, I will admit. It is just a shame they couldn't fix this before shipping the game out, or maybe they didn't see it as an issue. Well, it was. Fortunately, they did rebalance the AI for Ultimate Ninja 3, but that is another video for another time.
I mean, seriously, why would you make the game that unfair near the end? Whoever designed the clear conditions for the story mode are evil.
Sir, I have a question about these clear conditions.
Yes. Go ahead and ask.
Yes, sir, it's just that these conditions you have told us to implement, some of them are just unfair. And the AI documents you sent in are pretty difficult for the audience. Can we please, tone it down?
No, you incompatible fool. I want the players to suffer. And if they can't beat it, then they all are just wimpy little noobs. Now get out of my sight, you worthless puppet.
Yeah, that's probably how it happened.
In the end, this game was nothing short of a huge improvement over the original game. They took everything that was established previously and added just so much more meat to every single system. It traded its technical issues for infuriating AI and stupid as hell clear conditions, but overall, I'd say that's something that you can overlook. I can completely recommend this over the first one. Hands down, it's significantly better. It set a standard for future games in the franchise, and so I give it a lot of credit in that regard. But because of all the issues I faced previously, as I mentioned before, I can't give it too much of a higher grade. So while I'll say that the original was a 6 out of 10, maybe closer to a 5 out of 10 now that I'm thinking about it, but I'm not gonna back out on my original rating. Naruto Ultimate Ninja 2 for the PlayStation 2 gets a 7 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.